what you were saying there about making decisions, I think is gigantic. I say to my kids all the time, the worst decision is no decision.
Absolutely.
Right? When you get to a fork in the road, the most important thing to do is go left or right, because if you don't, you're going to crash. And you can deal with the ramifications of going left or right, but the worst one is no decision.
Agreed.
And I do think most people are, and I don't want to now belittle people who work 9 to 5, 45 hours a week and, say they're sleepwalking through life. But it happens to me too. It happens to everybody. I think where you just start to go through the motions. Part of it, I think, depends on where you are in a stage in your life. I think you had children younger than me. You and I are not that differently aged, but my kids are younger than yours. So I'm not really going to be doing too much for probably another 10 years in terms of, changing my life and moving to another country for 6 months out of the year. But I do think a lot of us fall into a routine. The routine is comfortable. It might not even be great. We might be bitching and complaining about that routine. Oh my God, traffic. Oh my God, this country's cold. This country sucks. But we do it for 10 years without even thinking about making a change. Right. So I agree with you.
I have a very wealthy friend that when I sold my business about 10 years ago, he didn't believe that I was going to retire. He said, there's no way. A person with that DNA, you start an investment firm, you grow it, you sell it. He underestimated my probably
your resolve,
my laziness, maybe my laziness. But I said to him, Michael, I'll show you. That's it for me. I checked out. That was enough. And my view was, and this person's incredibly wealthy. I'm not going to say who it is, but my view was, so why are you continuing to start new businesses? Congratulations on all your success. I said, each one you've got the Midas touch, but you have so much money that your kids can't spend it, your grandkids can't spend it, your great grandkids can't spend it. So it becomes almost an act of madness, isn't it? I mean, if you think about it, it would be the equivalent of you continuing to cook a meal and keep making more and more food, knowing that all you need is one plate.
Yeah, that's a good analogy.
It becomes an act of madness. Now, I actually think, have you lost your mind? Why are you still running if you've reached...
So how did you come to the decision that the money you sold your business for, and we don't need to get into actual numbers here, was enough and that you didn't have the fear of running out of money?
I didn't know if it was enough.
And anyone listening to this, they might say to themselves, well, Fernando sold his business for so much money that it's not a concern for him. But I'm sure you still had that thought that so how did you deal with that?
Well, again, my view was, I don't know if this is enough money. I think it is. And I think it's enough for my kids. But my view was, so what if I'm wrong? If this isn't enough money, it's not like I'm going to wake up one day and it's all gone. There will be, a sort of a runway where I can see, my numbers are off here. Things are not going the way I thought. And then I'll adjust my plan. Like, people always think that the result of a bad decision is complete calamity. You cannot recover from that. But like I said to you, it's not like I was going to wake up one day and my banker called me and said, by the way, you've got zero in your account. I would see that my math was wrong.
You would see it coming.
And then I'll go back to work. Yeah. I did it once. It's not like I've lost my skill. I still believe my skills are transferable to other roles. So, or I lower my life requirements.
So the choke points in someone's life to live the ideal life they want are perhaps fear and perhaps inability to make decisions. Because I talk about that a lot with Nick, that sometimes we will see people get into investment real estate and they will just hem and haw for so long that years will go by. And we always say, hey guys, you can sell the property. It's going to cost you legal fees. There's going to be, I'm not saying there's not some financial pain in selling a property, especially if you sell it early, but you can sell the property. And I also tried to explain that you need to make mistakes in life because the mistakes or the failures are kind of like the raw material for good decisions. Sure. Without enough raw material, without enough mistakes, you don't really know what works for you. Absolutely. So you actually kind of need all the mistakes, and the mistakes only come from making decisions. So one of the things I've always felt in my life was a benefit to me, not that I do this perfectly by any means, is my ability just to make decisions and just say, hey, we're going to do this. I'll quit my job. I will do this. I'll buy this property. We'll try a student rental. We'll try a rental, and we'll do all this madness. And then from all the mistakes, you kind of learn what works and you can kind of guide yourself.
I actually think the most successful people that I know are the ones who make strong decisions. And they've made a lot of mistakes, but it's the people who kind of just go through the motions. And I think there's a certain risk tolerance that some people have, and maybe you're born that way, maybe you're, bred that way. I don't know what the right term for that is, but making decisions is gigantic. And like, I don't know if you remember when John and I were looking for commercial properties and properties to house our business. And we'd gone to see a few places with Tom over the years. And I said to him, how am I going to make this decision? And I remember Tom said to me, he goes, if you're waiting for there to be clear evidence on a piece of paper that this is 100% the right decision, he goes, you will never, ever buy property. And it hit me like a ton of bricks. I was like, how will I ever be 100% sure of anything? And I think we bought a building, within 6 months after that.
And it was the worst financial decision you ever made.
It was
I'm
amazing.
joking.
We didn't buy it through Rockstar. It worked out really well.